Come on in. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about the pettiest moves in Survivor history. Pettiness. It's what separates us from the animals. With little strategic value and sometimes even detrimental to one's own game, petty moves, if you can even call them moves, are almost always both fun and interesting to watch on Survivor. You're in a high-stakes game for $1 million, and you've decided to bury this man's expensive shoes because you don't like him? Okay. But at the end of the day, what's more human than the intense desire to spite someone else in the most trivial way possible? Affection, fear, anger, happiness. Animals can feel those. But pettiness? That one's just for us. So today, I thought it would be fun to go through some of the best and most iconic petty moves in Survivor history, from camp destructions to needlessly cruel tricks to hinky votes against one's enemies. These were moves made simply out of spite against another player or players. For this video, I won't be including petty final tribal council votes because I've already covered that topic in the past. So the ever-bizarre Brenda Defense Force can save their comments for another day. How petty can Survivor get? Let's find out as we dig into the pettiest Survivor moves of all time. At number 5 is Romeo voting for Hai in Survivor 42. Though Hai and Romeo initially bonded at the merge over both being gay men, their relationship quickly deteriorated faster than Romeo's post-merge game, and soon Romeo was ready to say goodbye to Hai. During the final 11 round, Romeo catches wind that his name is being used as a backup vote, and as he gets increasingly paranoid, Hai pushes for Romeo to go over Chanel, simply out of irritation. During this round, and just about every other round in the game afterwards, Romeo didn't really have a clue what was going on, so he just decides to throw a hinky vote onto Hai just for funsies. He literally says in his voting confessional that he just wants to see Hai squirm. And squirm, Hai does. Hai's furious about this later that night and goes on a Lex-style witch hunt to find the rogue voter. To make this even funnier, in Chanel's exit press, she said that part of the reason Hai was so mad about this is because he really wanted to have a perfect game, and Romeo's hinky vote prevented that. Which, if true, I'll be charitable and say that Hai has an inflated sense of his own gameplay. I mean, this was a guy who was on the bottom of Vati and had to have a Rube Goldberg-esque series of events take place just to save him from a pre-merge exit. More importantly, Romeo's misspelling just adds insult to injury. It's next level petty to be so petty that you're accidentally petty. At number 4 is, well, I'm just gonna speedrun a whole bunch of players who intentionally sabotaged camp. Let's start with Sandra throwing out the fish in Survivor Pearl Islands after Rupert was voted out. Rupert was her closest ally and was blindsided by Fairplay and Burton, and right after the vote, Sandra made a beeline to camp to toss out all the fish Rupert had caught as petty punishment for the blindsiders, only for this to go the most Sandra way possible and for her to trip in the dark and spill all the fish everywhere. Somehow, Krista ends up catching the blame for this, and Sandra sits idly by while her only remaining ally takes all the heat. God, I love Sandra. There's also Jane putting out the fire in Survivor Nicaragua. In Nicaragua, Jane was tightly aligned with Chase until the endgame, when de facto target Fabio won immunity, leaving Chase in a bind as the camp tide turned against Jane. Sorry, Jane, but you can't blame Mr. Farty for this one. When Jane learns that she's the next to go, she puts out the fire literally as they're getting ready to go to Tribal Council, arguing that she started the fire, so she's gonna finish it. Similarly, in Survivor Co. Wrong, when Scott and Jason ended up on the wrong side of the first post-merge vote, they also put out the fire and hid the axe and machete in a petty attempt to sabotage the tribe and make their lives more unbearable. Honestly, all they had to do was open their mouths if that was the goal. Of course, the best and pettiest camp sabotage of all time is Jatia throwing the rice in the fire when she thought she was going home second in Survivor Cagayan. Jatia was such a camp and challenge liability, her elimination such a foregone conclusion that the rest of the tribe just heads down to the beach without her before tribal council, leaving her alone at camp with just herself, her thoughts, the rice, and the fire. What did they expect? Jatia decides that if they're voting her out, they're doing it hungry. So she dumps the camp's entire rice supply in the fire, and yet she incredibly still somehow survives this vote. In every instance here, players thought they were going home or had a crucial vote not go their way, and instead of saying GG's, they decided to throw a temper tantrum instead. Look, it's one thing to lose at a game and be mad about it, but it's beyond petty to do the Survivor equivalent of flipping the Monopoly board when all the other players keep passing go. At number 3 is Angelina convincing Allison to play a fake idol in Survivor David vs. Goliath. No list of petty gameplay would be complete without Angelina. You could honestly fill this entire list with moments from Angelina, but I think her late game attempt to embarrass Allison out of a personal dislike for her is her pettiest. After climbing at least 3 miles in the air and scaling a sheer cliff face on a ladder to get an idol, Angelina has the idea to lead Allison to a fake idol and convince her to play it. Why? Because it would be funny. Now that's my kind of gameplay. Fake idols have been used before and they've been used since. And though playing one is often embarrassing, it's not generally done with the sole intent to embarrass. Not here. Angelina did not need to do this. By this point in the game, the final 5, Allison was out of options and Angelina was in no danger. She had safety via her own idol this round. Would-be target Nick had immunity, and the Jabeni 3 had already formed a soft agreement to go to the end together anyway. Allison posed no threat, and there was no rabbit she could pull out of a hat. She was donezo, so this fake idol plan was purely to make her look dumb on her way out the door. Hell yeah. I love Mike White's reaction to all of this. He has spent 37 days straight with Angelina at this point, and he could not be more over her shit.
Diary of a Mad Freaking Castaway.
Angelina leads Allison to the idol. Fake cries when she finds it, and she can barely contain her smile when Allison plays the fake, only to one-up her right after with her own legit idol play, putting more salt in the wound than in Terrifier 2. If you know, you know. In a season of petty Angelina moves, this one is the pettiest. In hindsight, Natalie not giving Angelina her jacket might have been her supervillain origin story. At number 2 is Holly burying Dan's shoes in Survivor Nicaragua. Recent Survivor seasons have had some good early game meltdowns, but not even Banu and Andy can top Holly's day 4 and 5 breakdown. She finished real strong, but Holly had a rough start. After her only ally Wendy Jo went home first, Holly was next on the chopping block, and everyone knew it. Holly sort of spiraled into bad thoughts at this point in the game, leading to increasingly irrational decisions, but it was her overhearing Dan calling her crazy that was the final straw for her. As revenge, Holly steals Dan's $1,600 alligator skin shoes, fills them with sand, and sets them adrift, destroying them. No, Holly, no! Those are his magical shoes which prevent him from shrinking down to the size of a small child. People have hidden or destroyed clothes before in this game, but rarely has it been motivated by such a petty grievance. Russell burned Jason's socks, for example, but that was with the intent to cause chaos. Rupert stole shoes to cosplay as a pirate, and Julie hid Philip's shorts because she presumably really liked looking at his pink panties. But Holly destroying Dan's shoes was purely out of petty spite for his mean comment. And though she eventually came clean to the tribe, I'm not sure it had the effect she was hoping for.
I'm gonna keep one eye on her and one eye on my shoes.
The pettiest move in Survivor history is a Sugar not giving Randy the cookie in Survivor Gabon. There's the idle trick on Randy, and there's the ace hole vote. But when it comes to petty moves by Sugar, the cookie drama takes the cake. Cookie. During the Gabon auction, Randy buys a covered item, which turns out to be a bunch of giant chocolate chip cookies for the tribe. Only in Gabon could a simple auction item where everyone gets a cookie turn into a full-blown camp drama, which lasts days. Randy first offers Sugar a cookie, who declines because she hates Randy. So Randy goes down the line doling out cookies and offers Sugar's cookie to Corinne, who takes half, and then Maddie takes the other half. Okay, we're gonna pause for the cookie count here because it's important. That's 1 cookie apiece for Susie, Kenny, and Crystal, 1.5 each for Maddie and Corinne, and 1 cookie remaining. Randy offers the last cookie, his own, to Sugar again, who takes it and gives it to Maddie, leaving Randy, who started this thing with 6 cookies, with 0 cookies. It's like taking candy from a baby, except in this case, the baby is 49 years old. Honestly, iconic behavior from Sugar. She and Randy despised one another, and per her own words, she only took the cookie from Randy because she knew he didn't even want to give her one. This drama extends not only back to camp, where Randy's still mad about the cookies, but to that round's tribal council, where he's still going on about the cookies. It's impressive. Sugar denying the cookie initially out of a personal dislike for Randy is itself petty enough to make it to this list, but to take the last cookie when offered and then give it away, leaving Randy with no cookies for himself, ascends this to a level of pettiness few have ever reached. Well, I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Not that Randy would know. Got nothing else for ya. Don't be petty like these players, like and subscribe, and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.